Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ambition Amplified. I'm your host, Zach. And today we have a very special guest joining us. She's a songwriter, storyteller, artist, and visionary who's creating her own lane from a sound which she calls pop rap MB. Please give a warm welcome to PoshaBriar. Thank you for joining us.
Hey y'all.
Okay. For everyone meeting you for the first time, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, I'm PoshaBriar. I'm from Chicago, South Side to be exact.
Mhm.
Um, I did a complete artist rebrand. I was formerly known as Pasha B. So now I'm PoshaBriar. And I've been doing music for some time now. It's been trials and tribulations, I must say, trials and tribulations, but I'm still pushing. You don't quit when things get hard. And we can probably talk about that more in the interview.
Yeah.
Um, and I enjoy like different types of music. I come from a music background. My grandfather was in music. He inspires me a lot to keep going with this journey.
Yeah. That was one of my questions, and I feel like that's a good transition now. If you want to talk about your grandfather's impact on not only, yourself and your music, but also on probably a large part of audiences in the nation. So go ahead.
Um, so let's see. So my grandfather, I don't know if people are familiar with the movie The Five Heartbeats. So it was based on his singing group, The Dells. And it's so funny that I'm doing an interview. When I was little, I was sitting next to him on the couch while he was doing interviews on the radio. So crazy. I did not start music. Well, hold on, let me retract that statement. He took me to the studio when I was a kid and I recorded on his track. I totally forgot that about it until later on. My grandma was like, "Do you remember when you was at the studio and he put you on this track?" And I'm like, "Child, no, I don't remember, but I remember we got paid." I was so excited because I walked away with an envelope with $100 and I was so excited. So I'm like, okay, now I remember. And during the time, I kind of wish I started music when he was still alive. Um, because it's like I'm going by memories and like everything he instilled in me and certain things he taught me. Like he always says, experience is not only the best tool, is the only tool. So I had to like dig into that pocket of experience to, influence the music that I'm currently doing and upcoming projects as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. You mentioned that you grew up on the south side of Chicago. How would you say that has, influenced your style, your personality, your music? How has that impacted you?
Um, Honestly, I mean, it hasn't really impacted or influenced my style. I mean, Southside Heroes Chicken all day. I love some Heroes Chicken. Besides like my recent single, I say from the South Side, he from the West Side, but you know, it's a mystery. You don't know if I'm talking about Chicago because there's different, there's South Sides and like, different parts of the nation and stuff. So I think
Mhm.
that's the only time it's really impacted pretty much what I've done. But I mean, I'm a Chicago kid. Like I grew up going to the candy store, there's certain places I used to do growing up, and going places with friends and stuff. So I worked the Chicago Park District. I went to Chicago Park District summer camp. So it's yeah, Southside is embedded in me.
And then just one more question about kind of the hometown before we jump into your journey. Every year, the Taste of Chicago is coming up, and we have a lot of like Chicago legends performing there, including Common. If you were given the opportunity to perform there, what would that like mean to you? And would that be like a very awesome moment?
Oh, that would be amazing. Especially in college. It's so funny that I think I still have my voice recording. So I was doing radio in college
Mhm.
and I was like, we had a radio show called The Taste of Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And it was so funny. Like we were like, oh, call in. So we got people calling in on our phone. And I usually have one of my homegirls on and like call in. So that would be kind of dope just to experience that because I did have like a little radio show. Ooh, wee hours a minute ago where I had people call in and they like and we'll play something. So that'd be kind of dope if that happened. That's on my bucket. Actually, just Matt reminded me to add that to my bucket list to perform at Taste of Chicago. I'll write that on my goals list.
There you go.
Mhm.
I'll ask you about what else is on that list later. But for now, I want to. You mentioned you were formerly known as Pasha B, and now you've changed your name. What kind of inspired that transition, and what kind of direction are you taking now?
Well, I had a conversation basically in terms of like marketing, in terms, to be more marketable. And then, I got to thinking like there's a Cardi B, and I love me some Cardi, but, and I think there's some other people that go by B. So I just wanted to have it something where it's unique. And actually, funny thing, my name is officially trademark as of today. So there's no other PoshaBriar y'all ever see because it's officially registered. So I just wanted something that was unique to me, where people could identify me as just, me or no comparison to no one else.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
I think Pasha, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go
Go ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead.
And I think also with Pasha B, it was Pasha B lacked boundaries. Pasha B went through some stuff, and it was just time for a change to let that old me just go. It's like when you moving and you evolving and you growing, you gotta let that old part of you go. It gotta die so the new part of you can come alive and grow. Like I got on green, so it's like I love plants, so you gotta grow.
There you go. No, 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 no problem with the rebrand, especially if you felt it was necessary. I respect that.
Yeah.
How would you describe? You describe your music as pop, rap, NB. What does that idea come from, and what kind of makes that sound uniquely yours? Would you say?
So basically, I'm trying to establish that as a genre by itself. Because as Pasha B, I was a rapper.
Mhm.
Pasha Briar is an artist. It's a difference. Now I'm more so, singing, harmonizing, melodic rap, and then incorporating different soulful melodies and pop melodies versus at one point it's just, straight rap. And I think I've tried different styles of rap, like drill. I tried it out, but once again, it's like as an artist, you want things that are marketable to yourself. It didn't work in terms of marketing for me. That don't mean the pen game was, weak, but it probably would have been, more beneficial to someone else. There's actually some stuff I even have in vote that I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Because it's like I think of my old self, like this doesn't relate to me anymore. I had to heal from that place, and this song is it's kind of a diss song. I ain't gonna hold you. It's a
Mhm.
diss song to someone I feel like the girlies could use it if they really want to talk about relationships, but
Mhm.
um that's the lines of with how pop rap and B come together. So now it's like I'm incorporating melodic rap and harmonizing R&B melodies and pop melodies as well, so they're all coming together as one versus just me just straight rapping. So that's why I call it pop rap and B, and hopefully it'll get established as a genre of its own one day and you see it in
Yeah,
a category at the Grammys or something.
absolutely. I mean, that's awesome that you're kind of pioneering this new, sort of type of music and incorporating that.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone does it. It's just I don't it doesn't really have a category for it because you see people, they still, for example, Beyonce co-rapper in my opinion.
Mhm.
That girl can spit, but she also can sing. So it's like that category is like, can we get a pop rap and B category? That would be that would be
Gotcha.
nice.
Yeah, that's a good term, I think. And like you said, it's not like we haven't seen certain artists kind of fit that mold, but like you're saying,
Right,
it
absolutely.
doesn't really have like a terminology yet. But there you
Yeah.
go. Okay, I want to talk now about your storytelling through your music. One thing that stands out about your music is how honest and like transparent you are. How important is storytelling in your songwriting?
I think it's extremely important. Just to show that vulnerability side. I want people to relate. I want people to feel the emotion when the song is on. I want people when they look at my video, I want them to understand the pain that like, oh, I can relate to this. And hopefully they're not going through that pain, but just so they can rationale to like the feeling of it. And I feel like when you can story tell certain things, it just makes the audience or whoever is listen to the music on the back end to like feel just you just be vibing to music, but it's like when you actually listen, like you feel it in your soul type stuff.
Absolutely. You've said that writing music became sort of therapeutic for you. When did you realize music could also become a form of healing?
um I think it when I realized I wasn't angry or certain things, and I ain't gonna lie, I would write a novel. There's times I work people, they had to chop it up because I'm writing a novel because it's just like I'm expressing everything how I feel. And I don't forget a thing. I write down everything that is said that hurts me, makes me feel good. So it's like I go back to those notes in my phone where it's like I need to, I want to be happy. This is my happy moment. Or like I'm sad, I'm mad. Like I'm going back to that note so I can get into that mode.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes some times, but it's like I have like somebody says I have like an evil laugh at times. So it's like even when I did my evil laugh, that's times like, I want my give back type thing. It's like it helped when I was in the studio when I was working on something like that. Where it's like I felt like it wasn't necessarily give back, but I had to get put in that mode of like I was getting give back.
Hmm. Yeah. What would you say is a lyric that you've written that you're very sort of proud of, or something that is sort of noteworthy that you are? Would you say you like felt joy or like accomplishment when you finished it?
Like one lyric or just
Yeah,
like just
sure.
one?
Or just like a moment on one of your songs that you were like, "Well, I think this is very like stand out and like represents what I'm feeling right now."
Um I'll say this is if I had to choose one lyric, I would go back into Pasha B, the
Hmm.
past, when I was on Take a Seat and Rap on a Beat. I said I'm the ace in the game. Every move's a hit. When you're playing spades, the ace is the most like well, the spade is the most powerful card in the deck. And it's like I have to remind myself, girl, you the ace, you the spade in the game. Every move you make is gonna be a hit, you know. And how that's received is it's like whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna bring it.
Hmm.
You're gonna make sure it's like when I'm slamming that card down that table, boom, run me that book up real quick. That's how I would, because I play spades. So it's like you're gonna run that book up. So I'm collecting my books now. So it's like that's how I look at it. I'm the ace in the game. Every move's a hit. And people can find that they can see it's called Boss Red Lit. It's on my page.
Hmm.
Take a seat, rapping to beat 100 beats. You can find where I said that exactly and listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Please check that out. We can touch more on your creative process in a second, but I do want to ask, what are some of your favorite musicians nowadays, or people that you look up to in terms of their artistry?
Um, well, I'm always saying Beyonce.
Mhm.
Let's see. Honestly, is I feel like it's like a trip of like Beyonce, Rihanna, Sierra. I love me some Sade. Sade just puts me in a different mode. Um, I love water. I feel like water is therapeutic. When you're just sitting by it and watching it, it's like if I have some Sade playing
Mhm.
with the water, it's just like so peaceful, so calm. Um, I like, let's see, who are some other artists that I mean, can I name some current people?
Yeah, go
Like,
ahead.
I like Chloe Bailey. I
Hmm.
like her and Haley a lot. I see their growth as well, as their artists. Um, and I like old school, like I'll name some males too. I like old school groups like Drew Hill and Boys to Men, like those type of groups. Actually, I was upset I didn't get a chance. I went to a concert, I think it was like 2 summers ago, and I thought Drew Hill was gonna be there, and they were not there. But Jodeci was there. But I was so upset because I wanted to do them jumps with Drew Hill. But I say those are kind of the people I'm influenced by, inspire me.
Yeah, no doubt. All great answers. Mostly legends there. Now,
Yes. Oh, and Chris Brown and Usher. How can I forget the fellas? Definitely got to put Chris Brown and Usher in there for sure.
yep. Okay, now I want to talk about sort of your creative process and what goes into making a song. What comes first in your mind? Is it sort of the beat selection and then the lyrics follow, or does it change every time? Is there a certain formula? How do you approach that?
Um, I've gotten better at this. There was times I would, like I said, I would write like a novel without a beat. So I'm writing what I feel, and I had to reprocess my brain that you can't do that. Because sometimes it doesn't fit. It's like a puzzle piece. You're trying to stick something in there that doesn't fit. There's has been times it has fit for me, but you can't do that every time. Um, I would say now, I mean, I probably listen to the beat. I say listen to the beat. I know recently, like, I think the last thing I had worked on, just like a freestyle off the top of my dome. It was a freestyle besides like other stuff. It was, and I was listening to the beat at first, and then I just plugged things in there, and I took influences in terms of cadences from other songs. Like there's a Cater to You cadence in that freestyle, and I was actually listening to Cater to You before that, so that's kind of how that came in there. But now I listen to the beat because before I was just writing a novel and trying to stick stuff in there, and that wouldn't work.
Yeah, gotcha. How do you know when a song is finished, or how does your sort of, yeah, I guess, how do you know when a song is finished and when an idea is concluded? Like, this is where I want to take it.
Um, how do I know in terms of ideas finished? The way my brain is set up. Whew, I don't know if it's until it's like in production mode, like until this is like it's done. It's like there's nothing else that can be changed to it because my mind is like zoom, 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 zoom. I'm always
Mhm.
coming up with different ideas. So until it's like I have like the final in my hand, it's done after that. Other than that, I might be like, let's add something here, especially when it comes to like videos and stuff. I'm going back in, adding different stuff. I try
Mhm.
to be respectful of the people I'm working with because sometimes I feel like that can be overbearing, and I don't want to be that overbearing artist either. But I think once it's in hand, it's done.
Fair
Other than
enough.
that, it's not done. Until it's in hand, is not done.
You mentioned like your ability to have always like flowing ideas and to be able to write kind of like a novel. But have you ever experienced writer's block? And if so, like how are you, or like songwriters struggle? How do you balance that?
Writer's block, creative block,
Mhm.
artist block. Sometimes you just gotta take step away because there's times where it's just like it's almost like I feel like I was in college. You working on an assignment. I'm like, it's too much. It'll get
Mhm.
done. It ain't due. I'm not rushing. I just need to step away and regroup, get some food, a snack, something, and then come back to it. When you sit in it too long, it's like you think too hard about it. And I know sometimes I can be in my head. And it's like when you get in your head at times, that's not a good thing because you're overthinking than what it should be. And then it creates like it can create stuff that doesn't need to be created. So you thinking outside the box, you missing from the storyline, you going somewhere else. So sometimes you just gotta just say pause and I'll come back to it later.
Yeah, sort of that balance between, you know, pushing yourself to the limit of writing, but also taking time to relax and then have the ideas come naturally.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a genie, this ain't fairly our parents, you know. I'm not telling you, you gotta take a minute. So
Yeah. I want to ask, where else do you find inspiration outside of music? Like in other parts of your life?
um I mean, like I said, I love art. Art, anything like involving like art and like 3D gamer because I play Sims a lot.
Oh
That's
yeah.
my thing. Um, I find inspiration in those little things, but I find majority of my inspiration and experience. So it's like a lot of times I'm taking from what I experienced with someone or a situation. Um, and then I'll try to, see the little things besides outside of me because I want to be relatable to other people. But like I said, art, Sims. I mean, I could be walking down the street. I see something like, oh, we can. I see them. I say, look what they doing. Okay, period. And then you can go from there. So I think experience plays a huge part. Just overall experience plays a huge part with my artistry. And I think that allows me to still remain authentic where people can get the feel of me. Because sometimes you're not getting that, that feel from artists. It's just a song.
Hmm. Gotcha. I've never really played The Sims before, but I've heard a lot of people are addicted
Oh,
to.
you would be addicted for
Yeah,
sure. You're gonna be addicted.
I'll give it a try. Um, I want to talk about, like you mentioned, your visuals, and your music videos. Can you tell us more about like how important that is to your element of artistry, and how do you like incorporate, or how does that kind of represent your music to an extent?
In terms of like the video direction.
Yeah, like the direction or just like the significance of the video, or what kind of things you want to express with those videos.
I think is, videos are very important because it's like I'm a visual learner. So it's
Mhm.
like me being a visual learner is like I try to incorporate that into like I want people to get that visual feeling, when they watching my music videos in terms of what's, the topic of the song. I want people to get that feeling like if it's a party song, I want you to feel like you in a party. And it depends on the type of party. It may be like a college party. It may just be, a kickback, cookout. I want people to get that feeling like they're in there. I think that's very important. I think that goes back into the aspect of storytelling too, because, you want that feeling and you want to be able to tell the story with the lyrics that you're, promoting in the song.
Gotcha. Yeah. Um, your music video for your song "Enemies." That's I want to say like, please everybody go watch that because that's actually really well directed. I think it's really cool. But
Thank you. I directed it myself and
yeah. But yeah, tell us more about like that video specifically and how you wanted to attach the visuals to the song. What was your inspiration behind that?
Let's just start how many like footage. I think I want to do like 60 pieces of footage. And it's like
Uh,
I'm clipping timestamps from each certain pieces of that footage. Because each footage didn't get to use the full one. But I knew I had to basically portray like, listen, I am sleeping with my enemy. This is, based on our previous relationships, I want you to get that feeling. I want, people, whether it's a woman or a man, maybe girls, more relate to it because they see a woman in it. I want them to get that feeling like, yeah, you were supposed to leave, this ain't what you're supposed to do, and it's like love doesn't feel good when it's like it hurts. So it's like even the emotions. I'm not gonna hold you. This is so funny. So you look at enemies and you look at me now. The amount of weight I gained for that video, and I look at myself now, I'm cut now, but it's like I had to get back in that mode because it's like you had that happy weight then, but it's like that happy weight is just wasn't really happy weight because I'm sad, I'm going through different changes with the guy I'm with. So it's like I really put myself into character in that, even from like feelings. I was gonna try to cry on one. Somebody said I was about to cry, but I was like, well, I don't want to mess up my makeup, so we can't cry.
uh
But it's like I had to really get in that mode to display like I'm sleeping with my enemy.
yeah.
And even with, there's a part where it's almost like the Matrix. It's like that tug of war where it's like the Sierra like a boy. It's like the tug of war thing, like a rope between me and him. And I'm gonna choose me every time.
Mhm.
That's side note, but I had to really get in that mode when it came to that video. So I hope everyone gets a chance to go watch it and tell me their thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, everybody, go check that out. Like, I cannot recommend it highly enough. That was awesome.
Did
And
you, what did you like about it? Can I ask you what did you like about it? Or
yeah,
just
like I just like the sort of like transition between like the dancing parts and then the like you're mentioning your relationship with the actor or whatever, the guy in the video, and like
hmm
and then you mentioned the tug of war scene, which I thought was clever, and I was like
Thank you.
relating back to the song. So yeah, everybody like please go check that out. I recommend. And there you go. Like you're talking about your commitment to your visuals and your work. I mean,
Thank you.
there. Yeah, let's we can transition now a little bit over to maybe some challenges or some kind of roadblocks in your journey. What would you say is one of the biggest challenges you faced as an independent artist?
Um, I would say there's two type of challenges. One, as an independent artist, is I want to say not necessarily being consistent, but funding yourself. That's a lot. But it's part of the journey, especially like when you're an artist and you're trying to get there. You have to show why you're worth the investment. Just like when I study stock. So it's like before you invest in a stock, you need to understand why this stock is the best. And I look at the same thing as an artist. People are looking at, so why should I invest in this stock? Is this an asset? I am an asset, by the way. But it's like you have to basically show, it has to be some type of proof to show why this person is worth investing into. I will also say, as a woman, when you're an attractive woman, you come into different cases where, certain men, they're going to try to, talk to you. And sometimes it's unprofessional. And you, as a woman, you have to remain your boundaries and you have to have your standards and also give grace when people are disrespectful and cross boundaries, you
Hmm.
know, especially as a female artist. It's like the stories I could tell y'all that I've experienced have
Yeah,
been interesting. Um, and I hope another female artist doesn't have to go through that. But I think those are one of the hurdles and roadblocks that I faced.
gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. I hear that. What would you say is one lesson you've learned about yourself through creating music?
Um, I would say I've learned I'm not a quitter because I probably could have quit a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um, I probably could have quit a long time ago because it's been a journey. It's like when you steady trying to climb to the top of that peak and you ain't reached that peak yet. You still on the mountain. You hanging on a little rope trying to get up there. It's like it can get overwhelming where most people they'll quit, and sometimes you'll quit. That moment you quit could be right that moment someone discover you. So I would say I'm happy to know I'm not a quitter because it's been, like I said, I've experienced different hurdles financially, different aspects of things that have could have stopped me a long time ago, and I'm not stopping at all. No time soon, unless
Mhm.
God Himself sit me down, tap me on the shoulder, like, "All right, sit down. We ain't doing this no more." But I'm not stopping.
There you go. What does success look like you today, compared to when you first started, or just what do you look for, or what makes you feel successful when putting out a song, or however you achieve feel that feeling of success?
um, Impact.
Hmm.
I'll say the impact of the song. I actually had an encounter recently on Threads where someone was saying like how much the song helped them, and they realize they're so deserving. And I'm like, yes, you are deserving. Like if you're sleeping with your enemy, leave
Hmm.
immediately because I'm a leaver. I'm a leaver now. I learned. So it's just hearing that someone saying like how it impacted them in that area and they realize they're so deserving and that me even, let them know you are so deserving of great things. I think the most important thing is the impact with the songs as an artist is making an impact in someone else's life.
Yeah, I can only imagine as an artist how fulfilling that must be to see someone connect with your song like that, especially like a vulnerable song where you were being quite personal and someone can relate to that. So that must have been
Yeah,
awesome.
it was. I was like, oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And it's just like, it lets me know, just keep going. Like, I feel like sometimes you don't get applause for like everything you're doing, and it may not be reaching, mainstreams yet, but that doesn't mean it's not going to get there. It may be quiet right now, and then by December, isn't we booming? It's like the 4th of July, boom,
Hmm.
boom, boom, fireworks everywhere.
Hmm.
But that's why you just got to keep going.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I want to talk a couple questions about sort of looking forward and into the future, things you want to accomplish. Um, like you mentioned, your impact and the connection you had with someone. What other impact, or you could say, the same sort of connection with your fans? What impact do you hope that your music leaves on people long after they listen?
Um, I hope it's just in terms like they keep listening because like music is almost like digital media. It's constantly changing. You went from newspaper now everything's social media. I hope people still listen. There's songs that I heard as a kid I'm still playing right now. It's on a
Mhm.
playlist. And I think that's the main thing. You want longevity. You want people to remember this song, that feeling you got, Is it that nostalgic feeling? Is it that sad, am I sad? I ain't gonna lie, the song Complicated by Nivea. Oh, the times I was so sad for no reason, just listening to that song in college. I was just so sad listening to it. And it's like, it's really not that sad, but it's that feeling, right? I want people to still have that feeling, when listening to my music. That's the overall goal, the impact, that feeling, the nostalgia feeling. I want them to have a feeling of how they felt in that moment. They could be happy because it's like, I'm happy right now. If I go play Navy, I'm like, dang. I remember this man
Hmm.
broke my heart type of thing. So it's like that's what I want to artists to look forward forward to. Somebody is laughing at the comments, but I'm so serious. That's what that's what I want artists. I mean, not artists. I want people to look forward to when they hear my music. Is that feeling? Like if you listen to Enemy, it's like, man, I knew I was supposed to leave. You know, you're sad, and you may be angry. Like, man, I was not in my right mind. I should have been left like tonight.
Hmm.
So I want people to have that feeling when they listen to it.
Yeah. You've been building your own lane instead of, following trends. How do you stay true to yourself in an industry that's constantly changing and or like seeing different artists find, I don't know, like use social media as a presence to gain traction or just like be inauthentic to gain traction? How do you stay true to yourself?
Um, I feel like that's what works because it's like I consider myself a vulnerable person and being transparent. And, sometimes you have to go against the grain, right? What Chris Brown say, break rules only when necessary.
Hmm.
I'd rather set my own trends than follow them, to be completely honest. And there's nothing wrong being inspired with other things, but you got to know what's true to you because people gonna tell when you're doing something different that's not you. And it's like I want people to know, like, hey, this is me. I'm rooted in me. I am open. That doesn't mean like I'm not open to like suggestion because I'm a student first. I walk in humility. I'm always a student first. I don't think I know everything, but I have to stay rooted to me. So it's certain things that it may work for another artist, it doesn't relate to me. I can't do that.
Hmm.
And I feel like if I tried, God may make an example out of me. Depending on what it is. And it's okay. And it's just like you have to be okay with doing what aligns with you, like exactly aligns with you as a person. You have to be okay with that.
Yeah. Thank you for typing that in the chat. That's awesome and great response. Um, let's see. We have a few more like miscellaneous questions, rapid fire. So I'll just sort of read them off, and you can
Okay.
choose how you want to answer them.
Okay.
Who would you say is your favorite artist of all time?
Oh, now why they give it? Who is my favorite artist of all time? Like favorite of all time?
I mean, or maybe right now, or yeah,
Oh, this is a tough one. Um, it can only be one, like just one, like not a male and a woman, or
yeah, just
or
one.
just one. Ooh, um,
Yeah, definitely. I've asked this to multiple musicians, and they always have a lot of names running through their head, and rightly so.
okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Chris Brown, and I have a reason behind that.
Hmm.
I respect the person that is transparent, and that's why I look at myself as being transparent and authentic, that could admit when they, was wrong, accountability, but then you can bounce back from your trials and tribulations and keep moving forward. And we looked at his, things in the media that happened, previously. I respect him. You took accountability, you moving forward, and you're still making a name for yourself. You have to go through a season of restoration, when you were blackballed and you were not invited to certain places, and how he handled it with grace. Sometimes like, well, it wasn't grace. Well, I've seen it with grace, and you still moving forward. And that's how I tell people, like, you may be in a season, but that doesn't mean it's a sentence right there. What God has for you is for you. You keep going, you keep prevailing. So I would say him, and he's a heck of a performer.
Yeah,
Like, he's the closest thing we got to Michael Jackson.
yeah, I've heard that comparison before. I think it's not far fetched. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
I would say I would say I love me some Beyonce. I really do. But I also value how he's been able to overcome different obstacles. And I think that's important as an artist as well. How do you overcome different obstacles, especially when you're in a public setting and everything is being recorded, screenshotted, everything. So
hmm,
I'll see him.
yeah. What would you say is your favorite song that you've made so far, or maybe just one song that really you're really proud of making?
Um I'm gonna say enemies. I
Hmm.
feel like with enemies, I was liberated from some stuff, liberated from the old me, liberated from pain, liberated from people pleasing, liberated from just the old me and myself that had to die. And it's like I saw the transition, from me just evolving, like, no, this doesn't align with me, me being more feminine in my responses versus like I say I can be a firecracker on the 4th of July, but just a different approach to way I handle certain things. Um, and I think that comes with healing. When you're not upset about how certain things go, you are comfortable walking in your own shoes, that confidence is there. I feel like enemies, because I had to go back to the time where I'm really going through some certain things, like self-esteem is kind of shot. And now it's like, I remember I'm that girl, been that girl. Sometimes you need a reminder, you got to tap yourself on the shoulder.
Yeah.
But I feel like enemies was a song that really helped me just break free from everything that was holding me back.
Hmm. What would you say would be a dream venue for you to perform at?
A
Like
dream.
you mentioned your bucket list. I want to ask some questions about what's on there for
Oh,
for
my
your career.
dream venue to perform at. Uh, let's see. What is my dream venue to perform at? This is gonna sound ridiculous, but I got crazy faith. My dream is Soldier Field. I ain't like I
Mm.
remember going to see Beyonce at Soldier Field, and when I just tell you, it's like I got whiplash. Just being outside and all them people, especially you in your hometown too. Um, it's like wow, that would be my dream venue to perform at. Well, one of them. So
Hmm.
the field is definitely one of them, and I would also say the is it the Dome Mercedes Stadium in Atlanta too?
Mercedes Benz, yeah.
Yeah, that would be another one.
Hmm.
Those two.
Uh, can I ask what else is on the bucket list for your career, or is that more personal?
I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, I definitely want to do Summer Smash
Hmm.
and Lyrical Lemonade. I haven't been to the recent years, but I was there pretty much all of them when they were in Douglas Park. Um, I want to do. I went to HBCU, North Carolina A&T. I want to perform at homecoming, at my alma mater and other HBCUs. So definitely want to get back to back to where I'm rooted at for sure. Um, I think I performed at South by Southwest. I would definitely like to go back there and perform because it's
Yeah.
like I'm looking at how I started versus how I am now. It's like,
Hmm.
ooh, the artist development child.
Yeah.
Talk about growth. So I would definitely want to go back there for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
And overseas, I definitely want to perform overseas.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. All great goals. Are you? I've asked this to multiple musicians that I've interviewed. Do you look back on your music, your old music? Is that more of like I look back on this fondly because I made it at a certain time and I was super proud of it, or is it kind of like you've evolved as as a musician that it's like I look back on this and I see maybe how far I've developed? How would you say look back on that?
Oh, how far I developed. Because I ain't gonna lie, I go back to listen to certain songs and I'm like, ooh, child, you are off beat. Where's the metronome? Like for real, there's certain stuff. It's just like
Yeah.
when you just getting started. I'm listening like this. Had it been now, we could have twisted this a little. We could have swagged this out a little bit because
Hmm.
it's like it's. I think there's a song called "Don't Count Me Out." That's by PoshaBriar, and it's a cute. It's catchy. I might need to take. I might need to redo it. I ain't gonna hold you because I want people to know "Don't Count Me Out." But whoo, child.
Yeah.
It's I see the growth. We see the
Hmm.
growth for sure.
And yeah,
Definitely.
that's not uncommon. I've heard that answer from multiple people, and I just think it's so interesting. Like, I don't know if you look at some artists that like I listen to, and like you
Mhm.
listen to a lot of their earlier music, I wonder if they feel the same way. Like, if they're not necessarily like ashamed of it, but they're just like looking back, they think they've come so far.
Oh, I've come real far, far,
Yeah.
far, far because that I feel like we weren't even walking. We weren't. Now I feel like, I'm doing a little jog.
Yeah.
Then we scooting. We
Mhm.
wasn't even crawling. Cause
Mhm.
that right there. But it's I think that's the beauty of the journey. You
Mhm.
can look back and see how you evolved. And I feel like even from performances to like how I'm been in preparation mode now and the things I do now. Um, I think that's the beauty of the journey. You start out is at the top. I feel like I'm not giving anything people to look forward to. And I feel like even right now, I'm not even at my peak.
Yeah.
There's so much more that's coming. And I feel like that's something that fans and everyone else can look forward to because it's like you thought enemies was like that. I'm like, well, hold on, let's see. We
Okay.
might have something else to have people look for. And I think that's the beauty too, especially from music videos. I want everyone to see a music video and it just keeps evolving. So
Yeah.
it's like you're looking at that from there to now, it's like, dang,
Mhm.
do that in a couple months type of thing.
Yeah, and like you're saying, I think that's the beauty of music. Like an artist could be like you said, like I've evolved so far, but people can still like connect and resonate with your earlier work, and also see your growth over time
Yeah.
into this newer material. Uh,
Yes.
I want to ask the question from the chat. Royalty Only Media asks, do you have a favorite song from way back when that you would still perform to this day?
Um, like way back when, I think if it's not way back when, but if I had a song that I performing today and I'm stepping back in Pasha B shoes,
Hmm.
it would be Boss Red Lit. I come out in some red lipstick, like ow.
Hmm.
Boss Red Lit is just a reminder to anyone that, like I said, you the ace in the game. You a one-on-one gem. And I think it's just a reminder to everyone that, you know, you are, that girl, that guy. You sometimes you need a reminder.
Hmm.
You don't quit because even the song say, pat yourself on the back, don't call it quits. You can't call it quits.
Yeah,
What you quitting for? You just getting started. We can't quit over here.
absolutely. What is one thing? This is kind of just like more of a personal question, but what's one thing that most people don't know about you?
What's one thing that most people don't know about me? Mm, dang, I don't really think people know a lot about me. um, Dang, that's a good question because I feel like sometimes I'm an open book, but I also realize that I'm not an open book. One thing people don't know about me.
I mean, maybe it's a lot of people don't know you directed that music video.
Yeah, I don't know if people, no, they didn't know I directed music, or they didn't know the process too. Well, I will say one thing people don't know is the process for the
Hmm.
music video. Gaining a certain amount of weight,
Yeah.
it's much fuller in the face to play that part of when I was actually during that time in my life. So it also incorporated like being an actress. When you have to get in that character mode for people to feel your song or you going back into that time, there's certain things you have to prepare to do. So it's like I remember someone seeing me now. They was like, "You got so tiny." Like when I was at the studio, wow, they was like, "You done got so tiny." I said, "Well, couldn't tell you what I'm about to do. When you walking like you on a runway, Miss J. Tyra Banks, you gonna be cut." You know, and that's I'm going back to the time when I was walking, doing modeling and stuff. How I was cut, really cut. So I think overall, a lot of people don't know. It's like I put myself in character mode. I'm an
Mhm.
artist. But I have to be an actress too because I'm an entertainer. So when you have to get in that mode to promote the song or display, a certain you in the video, you got to get in actress mode.
Yeah. I want to ask, kind of like a not necessarily but like a topical question. Would you rather, as an artist, would you rather have one of your songs go massively viral on TikTok or build a smaller fan base that's loyal for the next 10 years or however long?
Mm, so one viral or a small fan base.
Yeah.
I'm a rock with my fans. I ain't gonna hold you because I got
Yeah.
a small fan base right now. We ain't even hit viral moment yet.
Hmm.
And I rock with people how they rock with me. They show love in the garden. Shout out to the garden. I don't know if y'all up in here, but shout out to y'all. The
Yeah.
garden is growing and I value the garden because the garden step. They show love, they in there, that's a choice when you click and join someone's channel. That's not you
Yeah.
clicking to join. You want to see is involved. You want to support the girl, you know. So I'm a rock out with the small fan base because with the small fan or it's like small fan base can keep multiplying because
Yeah.
someone fan base gonna know somebody else and they gonna tell somebody else and someone may know someone else that can help you and then that song going viral. So I would think I would rather connect with my fans and it may take a little longer
Hmm.
versus one song going viral, but I would rather rock out with the small fan base first and take some time because it don't mean I ain't getting there. It
No.
just
Yeah.
takes a little longer.
I personally think that's the right answer. I think one song going on TikTok, especially with how like volatile it is nowadays, with different songs blowing up every day, I feel like that can be a difficult for someone to not become a one hit wonder. But like you're
Hmm.
saying, so more of like a steady increase in terms of fan base, but then also like you said, like your connection with your fans is like of the utmost importance, and so that's probably the
Yes,
answer I would choose too.
yes, that's so important. It's like I didn't realize how important your fan base is. When I realized early this year, actually, when I did my birthday, I call it my Bloom Day giveaway,
Hmm.
where I offered a rose bouquet or $100 gift card sent via DoorDash. Um, I just feel like I was a blessing because it's just like I'm sending $100 gift card because you just never know. I know I'm not where I want to be financially, but I do want to be the type of person where it's like the way my fans show love and support to me, I want to reciprocate it. So if that's me, doing a token, offering a giveaway or something like that, I think that's so important to me because it shows I'm human. Also, it's like impact, and also it's like we building a relationship because I'm not gonna have a chance to like talk to everyone face to face on the phone, but it's like that bond you have with your fans is so important too.
Yeah.
And I see the fans ride. I want the garden riding to me. We ride at dawn. I want them to ride.
Yeah. Being that this is ambitious entertainment, I have to ask you, what does ambition mean to you?
Ooh, you gotta work, work, work. You gotta work. Nah, I think being ambitious means drive. You not only do you work, you gotta have drive. You have to have resilience. I also believe in the part of being ambitious it means not being a quitter. I think that's a part of the lines of because life is not easy. Life gets hard, but you got to stick through the fight. You have to stick through the fight overall. And I think it might not match the exact definition of ambitious, but I also think stewardship plays a part in being ambitious because you're creating a relationship with different people. You know, Rome was not built in a day. You cannot do everything alone. So
Mhm.
it's like when you're ambitious, you're also valuing different relationships. You're storing your relationships correctly. You're treating people with respect. You're treating people with kindness. That goes along the lines of being ambitious because people just think, oh, I can do this, can I not? No, you can't do that. You can't talk to the person that way. You can't be rude to them people. So I think that plays a lot when it goes into the definition of ambitious and drive and all that. You can't just be one single thing. I think a lot of times with artists, sometimes people talk to people crazy. You can't do that. You don't know who, and you shouldn't do that overall. That's
Yeah,
not cool.
absolutely. That's a great answer. Um, yeah, that's all the questions I have. I do want to ask you. I believe you attended one of our mixers, correct?
I did. I had a good
Yeah.
time. I
I was
had a
gonna
good
ask
time.
how did you like it?
I thought it was a great time. Just mixing and mingling and getting to know different people. I think it was a great mixer. Hopefully there's another one. I would definitely be in attendance.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just nice seeing people different come together. Like as I mentioned, I'm trying to build community, especially within like Chicago. So it was just nice to, meet other artists. And it's so funny. I met another artist who I had a song stuck in my head.
Mm.
I think it is Sex in the City. Y'all go peep that.
Yeah.
It's a song. It was a tune in my head. And it's like when I met her in person, I'm like, girl, dun, 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 dun. I'm over here like, I know this song. So yeah, it was a nice time bonding with different people and getting to know them.
Awesome. All right. That's all the questions I have. But before we wrap up, please let the audience know what's next for you, and new music or any projects that we should look forward to, and where they can find you.
So I have some things I'm working on behind the scene where people will be able to catch me live and
Mm.
see me perform. If you're watching, join the Garden where I have more updates. And as far as for me, actually, I think I got a surprise for something for y'all tomorrow.
Oh wow.
I think I can drop it tomorrow. I think we can drop it tomorrow. What I've been working on behind the scenes, but we gonna see. But just stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow may be a good day. I got something in. I got a treat for everybody.
All right. Awesome. We don't have to wait long then.
You don't have to wait long, less than 24 hours.
Just yeah. Just say your account so everybody can follow you, where they can find you. Please
So
say.
y'all can follow me at PoshaBriar on Instagram, Twitter, Threads. You want to connect on Threads? I talk on Threads, so I'm a talker. So if people want to connect with me on Threads and I engage in different stuff, hit me on Threads, TikTok. Join the Garden channel. I am on Facebook. I do not be on Facebook like that, but you can join Facebook at PoshaBriar as well.
Mhm. All right.
And don't send me a DM. I do respond. It may take a while because I don't get to see all the messages and the requests, but I try to make sure I respond to different people. So, and keep building that bond so y'all can hit me up there.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. I had a great time interviewing. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all have a good evening.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to our interview. This has been Ambition Amplified.